This on the screen is a frequency analyzer, and it's examining all of the sound coming through my phone microphone, and it's showing all the different hertz or kilohertz that it can pick up in the spectrum of sound that's broadcast into the room here. So if I make a really deep sound, oh, that was around 539 hertz. And if I make a real high-pitched sound, that was 2.6 kilohertz. It shows up on the spectrum. And so I came across this ear hearing test that plays different frequencies, and the idea is, well, you'll see. It's all about, can you hear a certain frequency? But when I heard it, I was skeptical, because as I listened to the frequencies and I could not hear certain frequencies, I was concerned that they weren't actually playing the frequencies, that it was a fake out. So in other words, they would play like 8,000 kilohertz, and then you wouldn't be able to know if that, you could hear that kilohertz. But then when they got up to the under 40 range, which is 15,000 kilohertz and above, or 15 kilohertz and above, rather, then it was impossible to hear anything, which made me wonder, is it really playing a sound, or is it just pretending to play a sound? What is it really broadcasting? So that's where this comes in. So I'm going to play this YouTube video, and I happen to be able to play it in a tiny window here because I have, my little Samsung phone, and it's YouTube Red. So it'll kind of play out, even though it's not the focused app. And then just watch these numbers that are dancing on the screen. So you see these numbers beside the video here. They're dancing on the screen. And are they actually showing 15 or 8 kilohertz and stuff like that? So let's watch it, and I'll kind of point it out as we go here.
So, how many of the following sounds can you hear? How old are your ears? Okay, if you can hear 8,000 hertz, you're both alive and not hearing impaired. But let's keep raising the frequency.
Yep, shows up as 12,000, right? Or 12 kilohertz. Look at that. I can't hear 15, and it showed up as 15. But look, there is no 16. It's not finding 17 or 18. And it thinks if you're under 20, you ought to be able to hear 19,000.
How high could you hear? If you could hear all of those frequencies, you're probably under 20 years old, but that won't last forever.
So it's trying to show you these kilohertz. But notice in the upper left corner of the frequency screen here, it says that my microphone ought to be able to capture 44.1 kilohertz of sound. So that whole thing where it went to 16 kilohertz or 16,000 hertz and higher didn't get picked up at all. Why do you think that is? So it's really got to be two reasons that would be true. One is that my microphone, or rather not my microphone should be able to capture anything up to 44.1 kilohertz, I would think. It might be that my speaker on the phone cannot actually amplify anything above 15,000 kilohertz, or when they went to 16 kilohertz, or 16,000 hertz. Maybe it really wasn't able to even handle broadcasting that out of the speaker. But the more than likely case isn't that my equipment is deficient. The more than likely case is that the YouTube compression in the audio portion of the video is crushing the extreme high and low ends. And so that's why, in reality, you may be hearing 16,000 kilohertz as some 30-year-old or 20-year-old, and you're not hearing it on this video, and you think, oh my goodness, my ears are damaged. But the truth is, you'll never hear it, because it's a compressed YouTube video. And that's probably what's really going on here. So fascinating. Here's the end of the video.
Like other organs such as the liver or skin, the inner ear does not have the capacity to regenerate. In your ear, there are thousands of tiny nerve cells called hair cells. These are responsible for picking up different frequencies and sending the signal to the brain where it's processed. But as you age, the continual exposure to noise and loud sounds can break, bend, and destroy these cells. So why do the high frequencies go first? It turns out that the hairs tuned to high pitches are the first to encounter sound waves. As a result, they experience more stress and tend to degenerate earlier, which is why the older you are, the harder it is to hear high pitches.
Now, I completely believe that. But in this particular case, I think it's not a real experiment, or at least it doesn't translate well to things like YouTube, where there's video and hence audio included with video compression, which is all about saving data space. And sometimes that happens by trimming out the extremes, the high and lows, to avoid carrying that data forward in compression. And so it's kind of an interesting story for that point. Well, that's about it. I just thought it'd be interesting and worth sharing. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, this video itself was called, I believe, How Old Are Your Ears? Hearing Test. But the more relevant element here is the fact that the frequency test and the video compression is probably to blame if you think you need a hearing aid in the higher frequencies, or if you are younger than 30 or 20. So take it easy.